All righty. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. Trevor calls me literally as I'm reaching out to hit the button. So anyway, all right. So while we're waiting for people to show up, first off, I put new paper on. It's all nice and clean. No holes, no rips, no tears, no splatters. It's crazy. So while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to real quick paint this house for the one we're doing today, and we'll talk about the one I finished up, the sample one, to show you. And I was going to try to get some more done, and I got sidetracked doing something else. Me sidetracked? That never happens. So hopefully everybody's had a good week this week. Right now it's raining, but it's warm, so it's really muggy. I hate it when it gets that way here. It doesn't happen that often, but it's gross when it does. But we are supposed to have the sun back this week. June in Western Washington is always pretty wet, and everything turns like super green and lush, and it's just yummy, and it's great. But then come July and August, the precipitation pretty much shuts off and everything turns brown. So all right, so there's, I meant to paint some roof too, so let me do that. We'll talk about all this. I'm just getting this kind of done while we're waiting for everybody to come on in. I've been working on the fairy suitcase this week, so I've been slightly sidetracked on that. I have some plans with it, so whether or not I get to do it before fall on here or not. The other thing too is I'm debating through the summer. I have 2 or 3 classes planned through the summer, but what I'm trying to determine is whether or not, let's see, I'm a little crooked. I'm trying to determine, oh, it looks like blue. It must be just the light. One of my big things to get is some new lights for the, now that they have all these fancy things. When I first started a million years ago, we didn't have all these fancy things. And I really, other than getting a ring light and upgrading my cameras and the mic and all that stuff over the years, I don't do things any differently than I used to. I mean, I see some of these other people on their YouTubes and on their Instagrams and on their websites. And well, my website, it needs some updating, but everybody has these like fully tricked out, latest cool stuff. And I'm like, really? So I just feel like I'm constantly a step behind. I'm running as fast as I can, but I'm always a step behind. It's like, how do people do this? So anyway, that's just me whining. But in terms of for this summer, do we want the classes to be there, and they would be paid in advance kind of thing. They'd be paid classes, the ones that I'm talking about. I'll still have my live streams, but the paid classes, do you want them to be video in advance, that when you pay for it, then you get to download all the videos, you work along at your own pace? Or would you prefer them to be live while I'm doing it? It's obviously recorded. You would be able to access the recordings, work at your own pace in the same way. It's just whether I videotape them beforehand or you have the live interaction. So it's because I'm getting one of them ready to go. And if I'm going to videotape it, it's very different preparation than if I'm doing it live stream. So if, you can respond here in the chat, or you can respond to me via message, whether it's on Paper Doodles, Facebook Messenger. You can email me at laura@lauradennisondesigns.com. You can Instagram message me. There's many, many, many ways to reach me. But I'm not real sure which people prefer. If they want the pre-recorded, all of that, or do you want the live interaction? So, because I'm debating on that as to which direction I want to go for these summer camp projects. I'm tweaking a little from what I have these great ambitions in like April or up until May, and then all of a sudden it's like, holy cow, it's the middle of June. Wait a minute. Life keeps still happening. I just can't seem to slow it down. So I'm just chattering while these are dry. So it's just, I want to go with more of a consensus preference of what people want. So, so feel free to comment here for those of you who are here right now, or those of you who are watching the video, because I know a lot of people watch the video afterwards rather than watching the live streams. So, and most of the classes, and if I end up doing them live, do you want them to be a chunk of time, like a weekend, like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Or would you rather they were spread out? If there are 3 classes, do you want to spread out over 3 weeks? Or would you prefer it in a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am kind of weekend? So in Lois, and that's in reference to some classes that I haven't told you what they are yet. But they are projects coming up during the course of the summer. I haven't shown what the projects are. I haven't talked about where the projects are, because until the samples are, I don't talk about things. I've learned my lesson over the years to don't talk about show samples, etc., until it's ready to go or completed, because then that just gets me into trouble, because then people are pushing on me, and then I put it up too soon and it's not really ready, and then I'm just in big trouble. So until the samples are ready to go, I don't show it. If I'm doing a pre-recorded, until everything's ready, I don't show it. If we are doing a live class with recordings, then obviously I'll show the sample. But until then, it's just kind of, I'm not showing things or talking about them, other than this is just in a broad sense. Is your preference to have it all pre-recorded? When you purchase, you receive all the access to all the videos, or would you prefer them to be live with recordings that you can access at any time? If I'm doing live, would you prefer them to be all in one weekend, or would you prefer them spread out? That's where that is. I've been on for 15 minutes. Nobody's been complaining about sound, Crazy Lady Cross. So it might be your situation. I don't have anything done differently with my sound. So this has been, since I bought this Chromebook, I haven't had to touch anything. So it's been great. Okay, Joy votes for the pre-recorded videos rather than the live streamed class with recorded videos available. Either way, there's recordings available. It's just whether, while we're doing the project, whether you want that interaction with others, or if you want to have just be on your own. Well, Candy likes the live shows. So we've so far got one of each. But it's how I approach prepping is different. It's the same amount of work either way, but how I approach the prep is the only thing that is different. Well, see, that's the thing with the live. It's kind of joy. The live is kind of the best of both worlds. You have both the live, but then you have the recordings to actually go along at your own pace. As I have always said since, I started all those years ago, I always recommend that people watch the recording the first time through, or just watch the live the first time through and just watch. And then when you go to actually work on the project, then go back and work at your own pace from the recordings. That's what I've always suggested, but I know some people like to work along with me. So that was just what the thought was. Okay, so I've got 2 lives and 2 pre-recordings. As seems to be the typical and the norm for me, y'all just kind of go split on me to where then I'm like, all right, then I have to figure it out on my own. So that's fine. Anyway, all right, so let's go ahead now that I got that all prepped and ready to go. So we started this in the last class. We got one of the little houses done in class itself. And then I went ahead and made some more houses after class. And all these they're made of a lightweight chipboard. You can watch, if you missed part 1, you can go back and watch that. The beauty of the live, and then it's recorded, is these little chipboard houses are then painted with some gesso, which is what I did right here. And then I painted them a color. I also took and made out of just some scrap cardboard, which can be a book. Where do I get a book? I was looking up and I see a book. So my brain said, oh, say book. No, out of a box. Or if you have some spare cardboard laying around. So I just cut some strips and fold it in half and then trim it to the length you need for your roof line. Now you can make it have a relatively narrow overhang. This has about a 1/4 inch overhang, or it can be a wider overhang like this one. This one overhangs at about 3/8, almost 1/2 inch, about 3/8. So this is the overhang, this depth right here. Now on these guys, because these were all tight in a little row, I made all of their roofs end at the side walls. If you're not going to have them right up against each other, like with this one, I have it hanging down so I have some eaves on the side, because I'm going to put these 2 on here to where my houses are separated, because I'm going to put a couple of trees in the middle of them. So, but where we got last week is we painted a house and we also put the roof on it. And then I made these 3 other houses. And then I painted a background paper that goes behind them. I assembled all this together from the frames. I took the glass out. And then made a background paper that I attached to the back, inside the back of the frame. And then I put the little houses on there. And then I used just a little saying. This was from one of Tim Holt's sets. Is, dwell in possibilities. And some little flowers just to finish it off. So this now hangs on my inspiration wall. But fun, cute, super, super easy. All right. I just want to clear something up because of the comments I'm seeing. If I do pre-recorded, everybody can watch it pre-recorded. If I do live shows, you can, even if you can't make it to the live show, there's still recordings of them. So if the live show time doesn't work for you, there's still the recordings. So I just wanted to clarify that, because some people are saying, well, if I can't make the live show, I'm going to watch the pre-recordings anyway. So In that case, it wouldn't matter because you'd still have the recordings. So if it doesn't matter, then the live show, because the live show has both the live sessions and the recorded sessions. The pre-recorded has just recorded sessions. I just want to clarify that because of some of the comments, questions that are coming up in the chat. So ironically, it's my two moderators who are having that issue, but hey, that's okay. All right, so with this guy, let me go ahead and do the background paper behind here. Now, because this has this cardboard that's on the back of this frame, which is this velvet stuff, which is collecting every piece of cat hair niblet of scrunch and grunch. So I need a something to roller in. It has these two little things from attaching this guy on the back. So I want to put a piece of paper over it, but I can measure this piece on the back to decide what size I want it to be. So this is 7 1/8 by 5 1/4. Now I'm going to use some mixed media paper because it's I'm going to paint it. You can also use paper. Sorry, I should have grabbed this beforehand. But you could use pattern paper because we all know y'all have big stash. I don't, have I been in the South or something? I keep saying y'all. Not quite sure where that's coming from. All right, so now I have my piece of paper. That fits. Inside, or it fits. I have no fingernails anymore. Gosh, it's been so funny. Because of something I'm working on, I've gone back and looked at some of my old videos. I had my nails done all the time and everything, and I'm just like going, yeah. Yeah. Now you take what you get. And I chewed up. I get annoyed when they get too long, and I chop them all off, and I chew them all up, and so you just get to look at my ratty looking hands. All right, so you can make your sky be a night sky, a day sky, whatever kind of color you want, whether you want a sunset, a sunrise. I'm just going to make it your basic blue sky, which ought to make Lois quite happy. So let's see. Let's use this brush. Oh, I've been nailless for years now, Joy. Oh, it's been at least 2 years, maybe. And even then, before that, it was only on occasion. All right, so I got these 2 shades of blue, and there's not nearly enough on there. I can tell already because my so I'm just gonna paint also take and spritz a little water on there to let it mix a little bit. Also thins it out in some places. You can also do this with, as I'm thinking about when I spritz it with water, you can do this with ink as well if you prefer. If that's your jam, so to speak. I'm so used to talking with my daughter all the time that sometimes I'm like I go to say something, especially when I'm texting. I go to text like Pam or something, and I almost use the jargon like she uses, and it's like, oh wait, she's not necessarily gonna know what I'm saying. So I have to stop and think. So anyway, all right. So I've got that painted. So let's go ahead and dry it. So I did a little bit of light blue, a little bit of aqua. And then I'm going to pull in a little bit of color for the clouds. So maybe a light gray and a white. A cool gray. A cool gray has a little bit of bluish tone in it. So which does, oh, well, that was way too much white. One thing I do recall in terms of going back, my brain is just like bouncing all over the place significantly. One of the things about the summer classes, I know one class that I did talk about is that I will be doing a color class again. For those of you who've been around since ancient times, I think it was either my very first, it might have been the second, but I think it was my very first Ustream class back in January of 2010. When I first started Ustreaming, there was like, I think Marion Smith, Catherine Krieger, and I all kind of started within, 30, a month and a half of each other. And we were the first ones doing the streaming stuff. So, and it's really cringy to go back and watch that one because we didn't have a clue what we were doing. But I did that class. That was my very first live stream class, was a color class. So I want to update that and do a new fresh one. So I know that's one of the projects that I'm talking about for doing this summer. Another one is doing a junk journal using a book cover. There's 5 kabillion YouTube videos out for that one. But how I bind mine is slightly different. And it makes it so the signatures are removable. So that's going to be another one. And the third one is still to be determined. Then I also have the summer long class, which is the slide projector box. And it's going to have 12 little mini books in it. And each of the mini books is a different technique, that sort of thing. That one will most definitely be pre-recorded. And those the little books release one a week. But that one is for sure pre-recorded. It's these other 3 that I'm still deciding whether to do them live or recorded. So, all right. So now this is nice and dry. Back to the Paleozoic era. Yes. So I'm going to take more of a flat stencil type brush with some white and just kind of pounce it. You can also use like a sponge or a makeup sponge or one of these kind of brushes. This natural texture seems to work really well. So I'm just gonna put some clouds in. So this, see how this kind of gives them kind of a leafy kind of feel. And then some places I want it heavier, so I'll go back over it. Maybe another spot over this way. Keep them pretty high because remember you got houses in there. So maybe that stray little guy up there. Okay, so then I'm going to take some gray and I'm just going to do kind of the underside just to give it some definition and make it feel like it's got some thickness and weight to it. Happy Clouds, as oh god, what was oh as soon as I said that, its name went out of my brain. The painter guy on TV, with the beard and the afro. Oh, what was his name? Anyway, all right. So we got our clouds, we got our background. Bob Ross, that's it. Thanks, Joy. Yes, Bob Ross used to make Happy Clouds. Okay, so let's let this dry. You want a sun in your sky? Okay, I should have planned that. Let's do a happy little sun. Just for Lois, because we love Lois, and I know Lois has to leave soon, so we'll get her happy little sun in there. And we're gonna make this one. Whoops, why did I do it that way? We're just gonna make this kind of fun and funky, kind of like how the houses are. But I need to figure out where these guys are gonna go. So I'm doing a house kind of on each side. Because then I'm going to put a couple of trees in the middle. So we're going to put our sun kind of not dead in the center, but off center just a little bit. So I'm going to use a little bit softer brush for this one. Oh, wow, that one didn't get washed out. It got rinsed out, but not washed. Something stiff. And I am the world's worst when it comes to brushes. So whenever I have a really good brush, I guard it and I don't want to ever use it because I'm looking and I have a brush from 2 days ago that I left sitting in the water. I probably should pull it out. No, he still looks fine. I'm just cruel and mean to brushes, so I can't buy the good expensive brushes because I would wreck them. Okay, so that's kind of a more golden yellow, and I'm going to add in a little. Oh, this one's really bright. It's a little too bright for my taste. Let's go a little more orangey. That's probably why it's unopened. Okay, yeah, I like orangier. Okay. So we're just going to do a circle. Now, if you wanted to do, you could take a piece of, let's do this because making a circle is not the easiest. So I'm going to punch a circle. Those are too big. Let's see, what do I have? Do I have a 1-inch circle here? I do. So I'm going to just take and punch a 1-inch circle, and we'll use this as a stencil. Probably have to do a couple of coats because on the blue it tends to want to go kind of green. Bring the other color in kind of on the bottom part. I'm going to dry this and then put another coat on. I probably should have gessoed it first to cover over the blue. Okay, that's toasty. As most of you know, I have pretty much cast iron fingers when it comes to blow drying, but there we go. And a little bit of this. Okay, probably snuck underneath there, but that's okay. All right, so then I'm going to just do my little, because this is kind of kitschy and funky and cutesy kind of project, which just makes me cringe to say that word. I had somebody when I was in high school call something that I was very, very incredibly proud of. I thought I did an incredibly amazing, wonderful job on it, which for me to say that about my own work was really unusual back in those days because I had no confidence about my stuff. And it got called cute. And she meant it as a compliment, but calling something cute has always had negative thoughts in my head, and it crushed me for a long time. So I don't generally use cute unless it's something like a baby animal or something that's supposed to be cute. Then I have no problems with the word cute. But because this is kind of a cute type of project, so doing a cute little sun, and we're going to ink this here in just 2 secs. I got to get it dry first. Now it's a happy sky for Lois. I like making Lois happy. It's a little thick on this one side, so it's taking a minute to dry. Pam said she has to remember that. You know, it's been a long time since I was in high school. Though it was pretty funny. I'm not talking politics. I'm just talking about a politician, but not in a political type of way. It was pretty funny. The state of Alaska, as you know, where I'm from, the state of Alaska has one representative to the House of Representatives. Always has. And he had his birthday this past week. I still follow all of the both Alaska senators and the Alaska rep on Twitter. And it was his birthday. And he talked about, you know, how long he's been in the House and all this stuff. And I'm like going, okay, first time I voted in that in a national race was in 1980. And he'd already been in office for a long time at that point. And I voted for him in 1980. He's still in the House. So my thought was, might be a time to let somebody else in there. But I'm like going, I'm 61 now. And I was 20 the first time I voted for him. And I'm like, holy smokes. So anyway. Okay, so I'm just going to outline all the little pieces, just like we did on our little windows and stuff. But, you know, that the point to that story is that's how long it's been since I was in high school. So I don't mean to start I don't want to start a political discussion. That was just more about how long. Yes, Alaska, because of their population, they only have one. We're similar to like Vermont. All right, so then I'm going to do another loop kind of on the inside just to kind of make it a happy sun. Do some little doodly circles. Maybe do some little circles out here too. So we just have some little detailing to them. So there's our happy little sky. So then our little houses, put the big one over here, put a little one over here. So they're going to go on there, and we'll paint the houses too. But I do want to do a couple of little trees for you. So I'm going to take some of my cardstock, my lightweight cardstock. It's stuck under the computer. Just be smaller. No, it's about the same size. And I'm not going to worry about punching, but if you would prefer to punch, you can. But I'm just, because I don't necessarily want these to be perfect circles. So I'm just going to cut a couple kind of circle-esque type shapes. Okay, so I want to see how big these guys are. So that guy, because I don't want it really, well, I could go in front of the tree, but I don't, or in front of the, maybe we do a small tree and this guy moves over here. And he has the tree over on this side. No, I think I like these guys on each side. And maybe we'll just have the little tree in front of the bigger tree. Okay, so then we also are going to cut a little strip to be the trunk. I'm going to make them slightly trapezoidal, which means it's skinny at the top and wide at the bottom. Like that. Okay, I'm going to make this one shorter. So that one will go right there for that tree. Now I'm going to take some of my cardboard pieces. I'm going to put one piece under the littler tree, or two pieces under the littler tree, so he stands out a little bit more. And one piece under the bigger tree. So there's going to be my two little trees in my row of houses. And we can play around with our setup however we want to. So maybe we make our houses go like that with two trees. I almost like this kind of layout better. Okay, so we're going to paint. Let's glue these guys together and then we can paint them. See, now nobody's calling it cute. Everybody's going to say sweet or something like that. I scared you all off the word cute. Okay. See, now Joy has ammunition and she will use it. But Doodle's neighborhood. Doodle Street. Doodle Street. It's around the corner from Maple Street. All right. So now I need to grab some greens. I should paint these real quick with some gesso real quick first because. The one thing I wish I had here in my studio is a sink. All right, so otherwise it grays out my green if I do it just straight. You could also do little triangles if you wanted to make evergreen trees. So for like Christmas time, if you want to do a bunch of trees, you could do evergreen trees with just a triangle type tree. Okay, let's dry that. Okay, so I'm going to do a kind of medium green and a darker green. And a brown for the trunk. You can put little red dots on it if you want them to be apple trees. Because my brush strokes are showing, I'm just going to make my brush marks go in all sorts of directions. So it gives it some sense of depth. So let the light green kind of dry-ish. Tap and dab. I'm going to go ahead and do my brown while I'm letting that dry ever so slightly. Joy, yes, you could make palm trees. Absolutely. For those of you who don't know, Joy lives in Hawaii. So she has a lot of palm trees. You can make cactus if you live in like Arizona or something. And some of my darker green. And I'm just dabbing this along kind of this bottom part, maybe a couple up in here, especially along the edge, just to give it that. And you go about 3/4 of the way around to give it that rounding feel. Make it wider at the bottom. All right, so there's our 2 little trees, all good to go. Regular trees break during a hurricane. Only the palm fronds break off. Okay. Well, while it's windy here right now and raining, we don't have hurricanes that frequently here. So okay, so there's our little trees. So now we get to our little house. You could also, as we talked about last time, when you're doing these um, little houses, you can most definitely do them um, with pattern paper if you didn't want to paint. I'm feeling like this one wants to be kind of this red-orange color. I don't have to paint the top, but I do need to paint the bottom in case he sticks out from the... So this is just a happy house. We're just doing happy stuff today. Actually, maybe I'll go across so then it looks like a clapboard. Yeah, I like the crossways because then it looks like a little clapboard house. Cute. Alrighty, so there's that one. Okay, what color should we make this in? Don't say blue because we have a pretty blue sky here. So let's make a purple house. That one's way too purple. Let's do a plummy kind of purple. That looks cute. See now this dates myself too, because you said, is that a brick house? That song Brick House from back in the 80s just popped into my brain. I guess I'm stuck in the 80s today. So now that song is stuck in my head. Thank you, Pam. The Commodores. Yep. All right. So let's try these and put our little windows on. Oh, it wasn't you, Pam. Who? All right. Who says that a brick? Oh, it's Joy's fault. Okay, Joy. So when this song is stuck in my head till the end of time, I get to blame you. Okay, so I've got some colors on here that I'm going to use for my door so I don't bring out more colors. So let's see. Well, on this guy, let's go with the turquoise door. See, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just doing a cute little door. Let's go with a brown door. That's a fat door. That's a double door. So that's a fancy. So I'm going to put windows in that door because it's such a big door. It's going to have some fancy windows in it. But it's a pretty big house. So. All right, so let's get our white out again. I'm going to go with a smaller brush. This one's too big. If I go with a squarish brush, it's easier to do windows. But using the white gesso versus the white acrylic paint will cover better. Okay, so I'm going to have up here. Okay, so there's my windows on that guy. This is going to have a peaked window up here at the top. If you want to draw these on first before just winging it and painting them like I am, which can be a little more challenging for some, you could do it, but you just panic at the thought of it. So. Since this is a taller house, then we're going to put some on the doors, like so. Okay, anything else need to get painted on there? This water's getting really gross. All right, so this guy I'm going to put up at the top. He's just going to have a little fascia. Just to break that height up just a little bit because I didn't want to put a window way up there. So, and I like the yellow against the purple. Okay. So all we have left now to paint is our roof lines. Roof. So, where did our roofs go? And oh, there they are. Okay, so this is a roof for this guy, right? Yep. So this is a roof for that guy. This guy I'm going to do green. Kind of this olive color. Actually, I'll mix the two together so it's not the same. I did on one of the houses, I stenciled on the roof to give it some texture. It doesn't really show, but you could do that if you want. Paint the underside where the eaves are so that it doesn't show up white. Okay, so there's that roof. All right, so on this guy, I'm going to do teal roof. This isn't covering great because my brush is still full of water so much that I'm really watering the paint down because I'm working quick. So, but I like kind of the rustic nature, so it's fine. All right, there's my two roofs. So let's draw our roofs. We can put them on our houses, ink up our houses, and assemble. It's that quick. As I was talking about last week too, you can also use do a reverse canvas. Have a canvas and flip it over and use the back side. And then you can just paint your sky directly onto the back of the canvas. Glue. Where's the glue? Oh, there it is. Don't you just love it when some days it's like right in front of you and you feel like you're blind? So I lay this down flat so that when I put this on, he's flat to the back. Just hold him on for a second. You could totally do a frame from chipboard too. Absolutely. Or do you have dollar stores by where you are, Alexa? Dollar stores are also a great way to place to find some inexpensive frames. Okay, so he's got his roof on. I don't know why I think of that house as a boy house and this is a girl house. And maybe it cut the color. I don't know. I'm showing my color bias. I have bookends on my couch. I have a cat at each end. Salem has decided he likes hanging out with me in here now. And it's raining, so Tigger doesn't want to go outside. So he's hanging out in here too. So they've each are totally mushed in. The backs of the cushions of these couches are kind of like mushing in like a beanbag for the two of them. So they are snuggled right in. Of course, then they'll be awake all night. But, hey. All right. So here's our two little houses. So now we're ready to ink them. So again, doing it kind of funky, kind of loosey cutesy is fitting with this. So, lines don't have to be perfect. And as many of you know how much of a perfectionist I am, it should make me crazy. But because this is the look I'm going for, it's not making me too terribly crazy. It adds to the charm. So there's the little purple house. See how quick and fast that went? Also, if you tend to keep, like I do, I keep my pinky finger down to stabilize myself while I'm drawing. I do recommend doing like I'm doing right now and starting at the top and working down. Because I have done where I've actually done one of these and then I put my finger down on it and it smears if it's not dry yet. So I do recommend starting at the top and working down, unlike how I did it on the first one. If you have a real fine brush and you wanted to put trim around these windows in a different color, you most definitely could do so. Get your doorknobs. Okay, then I'm going to take a little bit more of the teal. Leave a little bit more of the teal, just a dribble. And my little pointy brush. And underneath my windows, I'm just going to put some little window boxes. This is a big enough house that it needs the little bit of breaking up. So I've got little window boxes now underneath. Let that dry. The black pen I am using on this right now is a Sharpie S Gel. It's a gel pen, and I'm really liking it. It seems to write on top of acrylic surfaces really well. You could also use a regular Sharpie. You kind of have to experiment with some pens as to what works well, but I've been loving these Sharpie gel pens. They've been working really well for me. Okay, so I'm just going to outline around these little window boxes. And then I'm going to take some other gel pens and put some little flowers. Okay, so these are my fluorescent ones. If you have other colors of gel pens, but these will work for what I'm doing. So I'm going to take the green one and do some little spritzes of leaves. So I've just taken and put some little leaves on there. It's hard to see them, but they're there. So then I'm just going to do some dots with the pink. This is a fluorescent pink. And then I have a fluorescent red to do a few more. So that gives me some little window boxes with some flowers. Not to be outdone, we can do some little grass. On this one, so he has some similar little detail. So he needs to trim his grass. Take the same green, especially down in the light part of the tree. Do some green and black. The dots you kind of have to wiggle. The black ones you kind of have to wiggle in. Depends on your pen. So that gives my tree some little definition there too. Again, if you want to make them apple trees, you can put some little apples on there. So then this is going to look like thusly. Yes, I want to put this one on the outside. I think I like it better that way. So that's how that one's going to look. So we can now set the houses aside. Get my frame out. Make sure this is all dry so I don't get it on my white frame. So I'm just going to attach this directly onto the back here. Okay, so let's just glue down there. Close it up again. So there we've got our little sun in there. So that guy's going to go right down to the end. That one's going to go up against there. See, I don't mind it being in front of the sun a little bit. That kind of works. Oh, I wanted to do some black on the trunk. Outline the trunk a little bit. So there I did some outline on the tree, put a little green grass at the bottom. So then I'm ready to glue these guys down in there. Yeah, I think having the trees on there just gives it a little bit different look. That could be, the first one looks like it could be in a neighborhood, whereas this looks like it could be a little bit more country. That's more urban. This is more, well, maybe not country, but suburban. I like the sun. Thank you, Lois, for suggesting this. Is Lois still here or she left? But I like if she's left and she's watching the video. Lois, thank you for the suggestion of the sun. See, and then this little tree kind of tucks back behind the frame, so that works out perfectly. All right, so let me get some of this stuff out of the way. Hit back on the glue. Always make sure your lids are on before, because I store my paints upside down so I can see the color. But you always make sure the lids are on before you flip them over. Don't ask me how I know. It's just so funny. I've had this project, like I said, in my notebook and my brain for a long time, and I thought, I don't know. I don't know if people like it. And of course, because I didn't plan for it, I didn't have a tutorial or anything like that. It's like, of course, that means you guys are going to go crazy for it, which you did. So, anyway. But I think having a fun freebie is never a bad thing. So. Clear some of this away so that you guys can see it all a little bit clearer without all the clutter. I think I'm just really neat about cleaning up after a project too. This must be my old age. So anyway, so now we're ready to do, kind of like just those little finishing details. So let me see if I've got another one in my little bag of tricks. Oh. Little flowers in here. Real big flowers. That's just a tub of the stuff that I want, like right away. I need to go through it because it's getting so packed full. Now I sound like I'm just dating myself because a little bit country. It just sounds like now I sound like Donnie Marie. God, I'm just dating myself. Today is full of possibilities. Most of these are travel oriented. Focus on the good. Dream big's another possibility. Nothing is sure. Everything is possible. Life doesn't have to be perfect to be wonderful. I like that one too. Follow your heart. Like I said, most of these are travel type. Okay, so which one of these? We'll go with one of these two. Today is full of possibilities. Our life doesn't have to be perfect. I like the perfect one. Let's go with that. See, you think I'm asking your opinion. Yeah, no. Okay, now I gotta find some cute little flowers. Hang on 2 seconds. Yeah, I like the little green because it ties in with the trees. Now, one thing I'm going to do on this because it feels like it needs it. Go with your gut. If your goat says, "Oh, it needs gut," your goat says. If your gut says it needs something, go with it. You could also use like a stamped thing. You could type something up on a computer. If you have a favorite quote, or let's say you're making this like as a housewarming gift. I cannot talk tonight. Um, you could put like, the denizens or something on there, and that would be super cute to do too. I know. Thanks, Alexa. Just wait, Alexa. Just wait till you're old and your mouth stops working some days. There. So I did two at this end because so that green kind of counterbalances the one at the other end. See? So how cute does that come out? I love it. These were fun. So these would be fun gifts, inexpensive, especially if you find inexpensive frames or you have some old frames. Um, Garage sales are a great place to find old frames. Garage sales, um, uh, kind of it's Goodwill here, but I know it's different in different areas. Just kind of those the Goodwill type stores, dollar store, IKEA, but you can find inexpensive frames. I got these at Hobby Lobby. They were 50% off. I think they were like $7.50 each. So for $15, I got two frames. And it'd make a fun, inexpensive, cute gift to give to somebody. If you want to make it a baby gift, you just have like maybe a single house, maybe some trees, and you could say welcome, welcome new baby, or welcome Jonathan, or whatever the baby's name is, or something like that. Tuesday morning is another one that would have them. Big Lots, just all those kinds of stores. So Dollar Tree, yeah. Any number of places where you can find inexpensive frames, that sort of thing. So, but this one we pretty much, other than making the actual houses, we did this one in just about not even an hour. So add in half an hour to make the actual houses, and boom, quick, fast, and it's done. So well, I'm glad you did, Alexa. You always come in and chat, and you're fun and bubbly, so I always appreciate that. We're kind of going through a period of not a lot of chatting people right now, because and it's funny how we've cycled through over the years. We've had times where everybody talks a lot, and times where they don't talk at all. It just kind of depends on the mix. So anyway, these are the first of the Wall Street. I have 4 or 5 different types of ones to do for Wall Street. These with the little houses in the frames. And what Wall Street is Wall Street are buildings that go on the wall rather than on a shelf. I've done so many buildings over the past 10 years that people are like, I'm running out of room on my shelves. So I've had the idea for 3 or 4 years now of doing Wall Street. So these were fun. I totally could picture doing this for Christmas time. So you could, and if getting a long frame and doing a whole string of them with maybe a Christmas tree kind of in the middle, totally would be cute. Just lots and lots and lots of fun. So, anybody have any other questions? Don't forget to let me know. I might even put a thing up on Paper Doodles, a poll of letting me know for the color class, the junk journal in a book class. And with the junk journal one, I am going to have paper packs from vintage books, some papers from you'll have papers from 5 or 6 different vintage books in the packs. So you don't have to go out and get a vintage book if you don't want to. I may also have some vintage covers available. Those would be very limited on those if I can find a place where I can get them inexpensive. But I will definitely have the paper pack so that you can have a variety of book papers that can go into the junk journals. But other than that, I'm not doing kits per se. I will have digital papers for the junk journal. Some really fun ones that I'm working on. So the junk journal and the color class and the third one, which I'm still determining what that's going to be. One of the ideas I bounced around and I said I would never do this, but hey, never say never, is doing some sort of a planner, because I keep everybody's got so many appointments these days. Now that we can go see doctors and all that kind of stuff and dentists and everything now. It's like getting everybody in for doing all that stuff. And I swear I'm trying to keep track of everybody's appointments. So I'm starting to think I need a planner. So I want to make one. So that's one of the ideas for the third project. There's some other fun ideas out there too. But the one I could potentially incorporate into the junk journal. So anyway, don't forget to let me know if you're interested in having them pre-recorded. When you purchase, you receive all of them. You can work at your own pace, or I can do them live. So you have live interaction if you're able to attend, and then you still will have recordings to where you can work at your own pace. So you either get just recordings or live with recordings. So let me know which you prefer because my prep for the two is different. One is not easier than the other for me because I still got to do, there's stuff I still got to do. It's just how I prep for one is different than how I prep for the other. So we'll still have the weekly live classes like this where we're doing fun and simple projects, or we're revisiting some older projects. I have something in the works, potentially doing some paper bag stuff. Whether that's going to work out or not, I will keep you all posted. Regardless, pulling out all my paper bag stuff, pulling out and looking at other paper bag stuff that's out there. As we get into fall, I'm going to do a whole paper bag kind of thing with some of my old paper bag books and some potentially new paper bag books. So that's all coming up. But I also have something potentially coming up this summer with paper bags, but it's not finalized enough to other than mention it at this point. So but yes, the color class is a definite, and a junk journal in a vintage book is a definite. And as I said earlier, for those who weren't here yet, There is 100 different YouTube videos on a junk journal in a vintage book. Doesn't even have to be a vintage book, in a book. um, but I do, as y'all know me, I do how I bind mine a little bit differently because I gotta follow my own path. But I think it works really good because it doesn't look like it's removable, but the signatures are removable without having to use elastic. Let's just put it that way. So those are two definites. The third one is the one that's not positive, and the definite one that's all going to be recorded rather than live is the one with the carousel, the slide carousel with the books, 12 little books. And each book is going to be a different technique. Like we'll have an echo dyeing, we'll have cyanotype, we'll have, what were some of the other? Trying to remember what some of the other ones were. I have them all listed. Dyeing paper, making marks, jelly printing, photo transfers, collage and stencils. So each one of the little books will feature a different technique or idea. So it'll be fun. Fun and whimsical, cute class. See, Joy is now going to rub in the cute thing forever. Sewing, yes. So, Alexa, we love having you too. So, oh, Scott Judy, I'm always happy to help. It helps me too. Oh, my husband needs his phone. He was charging it up here. All right, have a good game. My husband and my son both play hockey tonight. Sarah's out with a friend. I'm like, I get to be in the house by myself. Do you know how long it's been since I get to be by myself? I have to run down to my mom's, but it just doesn't happen anymore. The last time I remember getting to be home by myself on a regular basis was like when my kids were in elementary school. Because as y'all know, during their teen years, Trevor had issues going on. Sarah had health issues going on. So one or the other or both were at home and essentially homeschooling for 10 years. So the whole last year that everybody went through, trying to run a business, do your work while having your kids home, that's essentially what I did for 10 years. So if you often wonder why some days I just can't, and I'm having a really rough day, I'm still trying to recover from those 10 years. So anyway, but coming here and doing shows with all of you guys is really my therapy. That really does help me out. So anyway, yeah, peace and quiet. I know. It's just crazy. So, no, it's not spooky. It sounds great. I will run out of things to do tonight. Not a slight, even tiny chance. And I probably have maybe, after I run down to my mom's and back, I might have an hour before somebody comes home. So okay, well, you go ahead and do that, Alexa. That's not my thing. Maybe when I was your age, but not no more. Nope. Too many things wobble around. So, all righty. So I'm gonna let y'all go, and we will be back. I don't know what we're gonna do next week. I'll figure it out. We may revisit. Do you want to revisit an old project, or do you want to do something new? if we're going to do a major new project, I won't have that ready by next week, so we can fill in something. I'm just looking around. I have one. Let me just show it before I say bye. I have one album. I know people want 3D, but the 3D takes more to pull together. Now I have this album that I designed last year to teach up in Calgary. I was supposed to go to Calgary last June to teach this, but COVID has other ideas and the border's still not open. So this is a possibility for a project that we could do on a live stream. There will be I know, don't faint. This is actually fully complete. I don't have the tutorial complete yet though. But this could potentially be a project that we could do on a live stream. It will take a good chunk of the summer to do, but I at least have a complete project sample, 100% done with fairy stuff on it. Little tag that goes in there. This unties. I've shown this a couple times on the. See, this goes down, this goes up. And this uses 2 of my paper collections. This uses Garden Gathering and Fairy Lights. So this is something probably be a couple weeks before, because I have something that I have to get done before the end of June. So I wouldn't be able to start on putting the tutorial together for another week. So I'd need something in the meantime for a couple weeks worth. And I'd probably do different papers for the one I do in class. But I have this one to show with these papers so you'd know what I've used. So, but anyway, so that's a maybe. This one's a lot. I don't know how I thought I was teaching this all in one class, but so that's a possibility. The other one that I was thinking, if we want to do a revisit, that I was thinking about was this is probably one of my most popular patterns. This is the Generations album. But I was looking at how we can turn this into kind of a junk journal type of thing. You see, this one, it had 2 sides. So it had, this is for my side. This is for my husband's side. And this was, like family pictures here in the middle. But I have in my handy dandy little, that's the idea book. I have figured out how we can turn this into where it's like each of these is kind of a signature in each one of these flaps for this to become a journal type of situation. So rather than a generations, it would be, a different kind of journal type book. If that's something people might be interested in. And I'll have to look and see what else we can maybe do. But either way, either one of these, I won't be able to, probably can't start one of these next week just because of timing. I'm trying to think of what would be another good one that we could do. We could, quote unquote, revisit. Yeah, oh, that's true. The little tiny version that I did from New York City. We did a little mini version from New York City that I filmed in our hotel room when we were in New York. That's something that I'll pull that out and look at that, because that's maybe what we could do, is do something with that little one rather than the big Hummer. So it's not as much time, because we could take that into like 2 or 3 weeks and then maybe start on this bigger project, which I haven't done anywhere yet. How does that sound? Oh, yeah. I forgot all about the little New York one. It would be fun to even use some of the pictures from New York. But that's going to make me really homesick's not the right word, but Sarah and I so badly want to go back to New York. So bad. We haven't been since, it's been 5 years. Yeah, I wish I could swing it. If I could afford it, she turns 21. Can you guys believe it? She turns 21 in August. And she says, no offense, Mom, but I really don't want to spend my birthday with you, my 21st birthday with you. And I'm like, okay, this crushed me. It's okay. But I would love for her birthday to take her back to New York later in the month, or in September or something, except she starts school back again in September, because she wants to go back to New York just to make sure that before she starts applying for schools, because she's doing her first 2 years, with this online program with Southern New Hampshire. But then for her second 2 years, she'd like to go to New York, but she wants to go to New York and make sure that she'd be okay being there. Because if we go, I'm going to make her, because usually I'm the one figuring out how we go and where we go, because I remember the subway so well. But I'm going to make her do all that. So we'll see if she gets us lost. But I can't do it right now until things pick up a lot. So but anyway, so is this a possibility, a yay, a nay? Because I don't want to put it into the hopper of tutorials that I need to write right now. We'll eventually do this one, but doing this one right now might be a bit much. So I know, Alexa. I know. I swear. She literally was born like yesterday. So the fact that she's turning 21 just makes me just so anyway. All right. Well, a lot of people have already left for the evening, so I will let you go. Those of you watching, if you would contact me either through Paper Doodles or Facebook or email or something, and let me know in terms of summer classes, or if you don't want summer, you want me to leave everything till fall. That's, I guess, another option. And if this is one that people are interested in, because I don't want to do it and then only 3 or 4 of you really want to make it. So, I mean, it's a lot of work. I mean, my last paper collection, 4 of you bought it. So it's like, it's a lot of work. So, so I don't want to do the same thing with this tutorial if people aren't interested in that. So. I hope Sarah will be fine. She's doing much, much, much better. So I personally think she'll be fine. She just needs to know that she'll be fine. So anyway, I'm gonna let you guys all go. So keep me posted as to what you guys might be interested in. Because otherwise I just have to make a decision, and without feedback, I don't know if this decision y'all want or not. So anyway, so everybody have an amazing week. We will be back either Friday or Sunday. I kind of have to play it by ear a little bit as to which day is going to work best, but it'll be either Friday or Sundays. And so I will see you then. So thank you as always to Joy, and I know Lois has left, so thank you to Lois and to Pam as well. all the people who help me out and get me through the day and the shows. So hopefully I will eventually get it to where I can actually see you and you don't have to talk to my hands. And we will see you next week. So peace out. Love you bunches. Bye for now.